In the early 19th century, the town of Ashwick was a place where the air was thick with the hum of machinery and the scent of coal smoke. Nestled in the shadow of towering factories, its streets were lined with cramped row houses, their windows darkened by soot. For Eleanor Whitaker, known to all as Nora, this was home. At 10 years old, she had already learned the rhythm of life in Ashwick. Each morning, before the sun had fully risen, she would join her parents and older brother, Thomas, in the walk to the mill. Her father, Samuel, was a weaver, his hands calloused from years of guiding the loom. Her mother, Eliza, worked as a seamstress, her fingers nimble and quick despite the long hours. But it was her father who had sparked something in Nora that set her apart from the other children. On rare evenings, when the family could afford a candle, Samuel would read aloud from the few books they owned, tales of adventure, history, and faraway lands. Nora would listen, her imagination soaring beyond the confines of their small home. "Books are a window to the world, Nora," her father would say, his voice warm with pride. "Never stop learning, no matter what life throws at you." Those words would become her guiding light in the years to come. When Nora was 12, tragedy struck. A malfunctioning machine in the mill caused a fire, and her father was among those who perished. The loss devastated the family, both emotionally and financially. With no other choice, Nora was forced to leave school and work in the mills alongside her mother and brother. The days were long and grueling, the air filled with the deafening roar of machinery and the constant threat of injury. But even in the midst of hardship, Nora clung to her father's words. She would sneak books into the mill, reading during her short breaks, and dream of a life beyond the soot and smoke. One evening, as Nora walked home from the mill, she noticed a small gathering of children in a dimly lit alley. Curiosity drew her closer, and she saw a young woman, no older than 20, teaching the children to read. The woman introduced herself as Margaret, a teacher who had come to Ashwick to help the working-class children. Margaret's passion for education reminded Nora of her father, and the two quickly formed a bond. Under Margaret's guidance, Nora began to learn about history, philosophy, and the writings of thinkers like Mary Wollstonecraft, who advocated for women's rights. For the first time since her father's death, Nora felt a sense of hope. As the years passed, Nora grew into a young woman with a fiery spirit and an unshakable determination. She began to organize small gatherings of workers, sharing what she had learned and encouraging them to demand better conditions. Her charisma and intelligence drew people to her, but they also drew the attention of the factory owners. One evening, as Nora and Margaret were teaching a group of children, they were confronted by the mill's foreman, who threatened to have them arrested if they didn't stop. Margaret was forced to leave Ashwick, but Nora refused to be silenced. She continued her work in secret, using the lessons her father and Margaret had taught her to inspire others. Nora's life took an unexpected turn when she met Daniel, a young journalist who had come to Ashwick to document the conditions of the mills. Daniel was passionate about social reform, and the two quickly bonded over their shared ideals. Together, they wrote pamphlets and speeches advocating for workers' rights, distributing them throughout the town. Their relationship deepened, and they dreamed of a future where justice and equality were not just ideals, but realities. However, their activism came at a cost. Daniel was arrested for his writings, and Nora faced increasing hostility from the factory owners. Yet, even in the face of adversity, she refused to back down. In 1819, news of the Peterloo Massacre, a violent crackdown on peaceful protesters in Manchester, reached Ashwick. The event galvanized Nora and the workers, who organized a rally to demand better wages and safer working conditions. The rally was met with violence, and Nora was injured in the chaos. But the incident only strengthened her resolve. With Daniel's help, she established a school for working-class children, defying societal norms and providing a beacon of hope in the midst of despair. By the 1820s, Nora's efforts began to bear fruit. The movement she had helped build gained momentum, and early labor reforms were introduced. Though the changes were small, they were a step in the right direction. Nora's school flourished, and she became a mentor to a new generation of activists. Her relationship with Daniel endured, and together they continued to fight for a better world. As Nora grew older, she often reflected on her journey. The road had been long and fraught with challenges, but she had never lost sight of her father's words. Never stop learning, no matter what life throws at you. Those words had carried her through the darkest of times and inspired countless others to do the same. Though she knew there was still much work to be done, Nora took solace in the knowledge that she had lit a flame of resilience that would continue to burn long after she was gone.